Buddy. Um, Obviously, a big week for us getting prepared for Air Force. The Commander in Chief's trophy is certainly the most coveted tangible goal we've got. Just trying to get that trophy and keep it here, and it's a challenge every year. And unfortunately, it doesn't reside here right now, and the only way to get it back is to win the game this weekend and give ourselves a chance in December. So we certainly put a lot of effort into these games throughout the year, and then when the preparation rolls around for these contests and opportunities, man, it's intense, and we know that both sides, the players and coaches and everybody involved are just focusing their complete attention and efforts into this. And it's what makes them such great football games. And they have been over the years, been really hard fought, tough, uh, closely contested football games. And so hopefully we can do a good job of preparing this week and having our team ready and be competitive on Saturday.
Rich, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely, Coach. Just how special is it, and how refreshing is it? I think maybe I would say is maybe there's some things that happened earlier in the year you wish could have gone different. Now you have a clean slate and really a new season heading to here.
Well, the Academy games are just almost like a season to themselves, and uh, it's hard to describe just the emotion and the excitement that these games entail. I mean, it's many years, it's decades of history, and and our guys, they desperately want to win and work really hard to try to do that in each one of these games. But it, regardless of what has happened in the season to this point, and it's been the case every year at this point a year ago. You just kind of toss everything to the side, and we are in a new season. And it's CIC season, and it's exciting, it's fun, and like I said, hopefully we'll play well.
Hopefully play well. What is most exciting about this rivalry for you?
I think just the history of this rivalry, and what it means to each branch of service and what it means to our men and women that serve in the United States Army. And I think, that we are all part of the United States military, in our own way. But for those men and women that serve in the United States Army and the bragging rights that come with that, over their sister services, with a victory, I mean, it's great to be able to represent them and try to go out and represent them in the same colors and the same under the same name. And so a lot of pride, and I think just being a part of that and knowing that I've got an opportunity to represent those men and women, it's pretty incredible. And I think for each of our players, they would say the same thing. Thank you.
Ken McMillan, go ahead.
Jeff, just to follow on what Rich was talking about, explain to the casual college football fan, what is the significance of these CIC games?
Well, it is difficult to briefly explain, but I think there's just a special pride uh, among the academies, and we represent so much more than just an institution, a fan base, uh, a state, um, the alumni. We represent, um, we really represent the United States, the American people, and in our case, over 1 million men and women that serve in the United States Army on active duty. And to represent them, to feel like we're playing for all of those men and women in this game and in these games, I think that it kind of takes it to a different level in terms of the kind of game that it is. Not that every game isn't important, they're all important. But there's just something about these games and the just the desire and the the desperation in terms of effort that are put into these games, and especially on the Saturday when the games are played. And it's going on all year long. The rivalry lasts all year long, in recruiting and in all of it. Preparation, little bits and pieces as we go throughout the year, whether it's spring ball or preseason camp or even during the season, just bits and pieces of getting prepared for these games. Um, and it's an opportunity for our team and of course the other two to claim a championship. And there are conference championships and national championships, but this championship is between three very like-minded uh, institutions, all of whom have not just players but student bodies that will serve in the United States military in their respective branch of service. And it's a level of pride that's different than just maybe playing uh, a typical rivalry game. Um, they're they're they are fiercely contested, and I'm I've been a part of a lot of these games, and it just seems like both teams play harder than they ever have in every one of these games. And so when you play a game like that and you get to the end of it, uh, the victory is that much sweeter, and the agony of defeat is just uh, that much more difficult to deal with.
Jeff, do you find that these CIC games are predictable or very unpredictable?
Mm.
Do you, the three of you coaches, like to throw twists at each other more so than maybe in other games?
It's I don't know if any game is predictable, but these games certainly are not. To just imagine how they might go, um, how we might play, how the other team might play. Um, it's hard to predict. And um, most of ours against them, against Air Force, have been low scoring, closely contested. We've had overtime games, uh, one score games, it, last second heroics from one side or another. And they're just really hard games to win. And so it's going to take a great effort. It's going to take great execution, and you know, for us to not make mistakes, not lose the game, try to win it.
Jeff, it's been 10 days since Tulane. You've had time to heal, but also prep for this game. How do you feel about your group at this time heading into Air Force?
I thought our guys played really well against Tulane, and obviously they made some plays down the stretch and beat us, and they did. They won the game. Um, and we moved the ball, and we were able to do that fairly consistently throughout the day. We didn't get points on a couple of drives early in the game in the first half. And we dropped a touchdown pass. We missed a kick. Had some opportunities to get a few more points. Uh, and then in the second half, did a really pretty good job. Other than the touchdown run, which that kid made a really good play. We missed an assignment, didn't play a gap like we were supposed to. Um, but found a way to put a drive together and go up 17-10 with less than 6 minutes to go, and then they went to work on us. They've got a really talented football team, a well-coached team, and they made some plays in those last 6 minutes. It set them up for that 4th and 8, and that kid made a great play. And then really the only time that we didn't uh, at least turn a first down and move the ball a little bit the entire day was that last drive. Well, the drive between the two touchdowns in the second and or in the fourth quarter, and we had to punt, and they took it right back down there and scored. And kid made a great play in the end zone, and they made enough plays. It was disappointing, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I thought our guys played really hard and really for most of the game played pretty well, and that's encouraging. Um, we had played, I think, very sporadic, uh, sporadically in terms of good and bad in the first part of the year. Times we played really well, times we didn't play real well, and sometimes it was one unit and not the other, and sometimes it was the entire team. Um, but when we went into the UAB game that week, I thought we had a great week of practice. The Charlotte week, thought we had a great week of practice, and the Tulane week, thought we had a great week of practice. I think our guys are improving. Their spirits were great, attitude, their effort, all what we needed it to be. Um, so, though we lost the game against Tulane, I feel like our team's getting better and we're improving, and and that's positive. So hopefully we did that last week and we improved. And hopefully we'll do that over the next few days before we travel and go out there and play our very best.
And last thing, Jeff, I know the object is to win this game and all, but the Air Force Army rivalry in many years has always been a rush versus rush.
Mhm.
Both teams have always been ranked near the top in the NCAA rushing stats and all. Is there a bit of a pride factor that goes on and a mano battle from the rush game from both programs?
I don't know that that's the case, Ken. I think we're both just trying to win the game and doing what we do best to try to win the game. And typically that means running the football. And all three academies have historically been good rushing teams and run the ball effectively. Um, we're not doing it as effectively as we did a year ago, um, but we're still a running football team. And we've got to be able to do that well if we're going to give ourselves a chance to win. And I think that's the same with them and the same with Navy. Um, but it really is just trying to figure out what we've got to do to be able to win. And if that means throwing the ball, then we throw the ball. If it means running the ball, we run the ball. And we're looking throughout the game for opportunities to move the football and make a play. And it's hard to gain a yard in these games. I mean, it's that far. It's 3 feet. It's hard to gain 3 feet in one of these games because everybody is playing so hard. Um, and both, yeah, both teams just fighting like crazy to win. And so that creates necessities sometimes because we've defended each other for so many years and tried to come up with schemes offensively to 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 go against those defensive attacks, which both coordinators in this game do a great job. Both defensive coordinators are really good at at playing these offenses, and which stands to reason. We're more of a mirror image of each other than we are anybody else. Um, but we scheme and we try to find ways to move the ball and to stop the other team, and that just creates a necessity to find things that maybe are out of our norm to come up with a yard or come up with a first down. But it's not, there's no uh, I guess bravado in, hey, we're going to run the ball better and we're just going to line up and smash it, and we're just trying to move the ball. We're just trying to get first downs and get points on the board, and it doesn't matter how that happens. And you know, they have really done a nice job this year of scoring points. They are and doing it in different ways, and they've always been a team that you watch and they've been able to score points on people. And a lot of times it's pitching the ball out there and they got the edge knocked down, or they they do a really good job of trapping people and running inside run. And they've had running backs that were really gifted, and this year they're doing it through the air and they're completing passes, and the route concepts that they're running. I mean, they're giving people fits. They've stayed in games. They've won games because of the passing game, and they're far more shotgun than they are under center. and that's really a change from what they had been the last few years. And so, give them credit, they've evolved, and so it creates a necessity for us to evolve and to come up with ways to stop what they're doing. So it's just, it's always been just two teams just throwing haymakers and slugging it out, and it still remains that kind of game. It might look a little bit different, just in the way it's presented and the things that each team does, but these two teams are going to fight like crazy, and the one-on-one battles that'll be going on in the trenches and out on the perimeter, blocking and trying to defeat blocks, that's all still going to be there.
Thanks, Ken. Austin, you want to start us off on Zoom?
Yes, we'll keep it to 2 questions each for the sake of time. Ken Kreitzer, Cam Vets Media, go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Hope you have a good day. What struck me is a little bit about the series with Air Force is that you and Coach Troy Calhoun have played each other 12 times in a row. I don't know, you must be up there in the stats on that of tenure of two teams, two coaches playing each other in consecutive years. How do you feel about when you play someone, as Ken was asking you about, that knows you very well, knows your team, and you know their team very well, you follow them? How do you approach that?
Well, I think it adds to the challenge, and there's just only so much you can come up with other than completely changing who we are offensively or defensively. And both teams know each other well. Um, they've got a well-coached football team, and it is an incredible challenge to win this game. It has been every year, and there's been some great battles, and we just got to try to do what we do as well as we possibly can, just as they're going to try to do what they do as well as they possibly can. And um, the team that does that the best and likely makes the fewest mistakes is going to find themselves in a winner's circle.
Very good. Hey, just to ask you about the Air Force quarterback, you've been alluding to how they've been able to pass the ball. Liam Zarka, sophomore, 55 and 90 passing, 8 touchdowns, 150 yards passing a game. But he's also rushing effectively, 103 yards a game. What do you see in this young sophomore Air Force quarterback?
He's really a good player. He's number one. He's a tough, strong runner, and he's fast. He gets out in the open field and he builds speed, and he's got legit, real track times that I think give confirmation that he can run and run fast. But he's done a great job in the passing game. As I said, they've found themselves with open receivers, and they're doing a really nice job. Um, they've got an effective run game, which gives them some opportunities to get some one-on-one battles out there on the perimeter. And he's thrown good balls, and they got good receivers, and they've completed some big pass plays. And so they've certainly found a good player in him. He's doing a good job.
We'll go now to Sal Interdonato. Sal, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're well. Want to ask you about how you separate the rivalry between Air Force and Navy with your players. Just how do you separate what's different, or what do you focus on? Do you focus on something more with Air Force than you do Navy? How does that work out?
They're just two different games and two different rivalries. I think that the history of our game against Air Force, the history of our game against Navy, those are different. Certainly the lengths of the duration of those rivalries make them different. But there is there's a strong sense of rivalry in each of the games, and it's just different. But we desperately want to win this game, and we're going to work very, very hard this week to be prepared. And as I said, I hope that'll be good enough.
I think at Tulane week you were saying how Cody Harris Miller was maybe a few weeks away from maybe coming back. I was wondering if you might have been targeting this game for his return and how he's doing.
We're hopeful. We're not sure, but we're hopeful. And he continues to recover and rehabilitate, and he's doing more football stuff, and we'll just see. I don't have an answer at this moment as to whether he'll be ready or not.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
think we're all set. Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody.